Wine and Crime contains graphic and explicit content which may not be suitable for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Yay! We did it. You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
You darn tootin', widow!
Darn tootin'.
I don't know.
I can't get over that photo of Lucy as a baby surrounded by
the
dead fish.
Dead fish.
Seance.
My dad commented going, why is no one asking me which jig I was using?
I know. I am obsessed with that.
Tell me your
Fucking
dad is Sean
hilarious.
Fitzgerald without telling me your dad is Sean Fitzgerald.
I love that. Sorry for the viewers on Patreon. I'm adjusting my camera. It's leaning. It's fine. If it falls, it falls. Okay, moving on. Hi.
Hi. Already did the intro. Check. My name. I'm Kenyon.
Oh, fabulous.
I'm Lucy.
I'm Amanda.
And this week we have a very special and very timely fan pick.
Very obviously a fan pick because we would
Very obviously
never.
a fan pick, but I did end up finding a fantastic case, so I'm excited. Brought to you by Michelle Belmont.
Okay.
Belmont State.
Michelle, my Belmont.
Mm-hmm. And Michelle has selected the topic FIFA Crimes, which if you had asked me like 4 years ago what FIFA was, I would have said a video game.
Oh,
Yeah,
you mean
it's a
the
video
queen of
game.
sports didn't know?
I don't give a shit. I just accidentally absorb sports information.
That's true. It's your husband's fault.
Yeah.
It's really what it is.
Yeah.
Fault being the operative word.
There
But
has
like
been
your life is like, or your
a
sports
box
life
of chocolate.
is like a box of chocolates.
Mhm.
It's similar to when I was dating Bloney,
Mm-hmm.
and he really loves football. Baloney. And he like got me to be in a fantasy league like one time where I only picked my teams based off of how much I liked their uniforms.
Right.
That's the extent of my knowledge of sport.
Yes.
My roommate Ellen in college used to make me, well, we weren't roommates this year, but she and her boyfriend were really into like college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
This was also one of the years where you and I was like really good,
Mhm.
I guess. But we had to
You
watch
got
college
1 year.
basketball all the fucking time. And it was
Yeah.
Boo.
God.
The thing about sports is that they are unrelenting.
Unrelenting. It
It
never
never stops.
stops.
I know.
But
There's
Amanda,
no
to
break
your-
because then another sport just fucking
Yeah.
starts.
Tell me about it.
To your sports team colors, I said that I was rooting for the Tar Heels because I liked their powder blue outfits.
I do
Yeah.
like, isn't that North Carolina?
I don't know.
Ole Miss, Roll Tide.
Yep.
Have I told you about
Go
my
Hawks.
best of all time Trivial Pursuit win?
No.
Okay. One time I was in grad school. We went on like a ski trip and I was in a little chalet with some friends.
Obviously not skiing.
This is a horror movie.
I know. We skied during the day. I can ski on very easy slopes.
You skied?
Yeah,
She skied. I've been skiing twice, and I don't hate it. It's just very uncomfortable.
It is.
I get
it's
sore.
not
I
comfy,
I can
yeah.
do greens and blues.
Okay.
I can do
Mild
bunny hills. I
Mild
can-
blues.
Yeah, I can do like the bare minimum. No
Yeah.
snowboarding.
No.
Too much coordination.
Anyway,
Too much
none
core.
of that. None of this is relevant. I'm
Yeah.
with friends,
Okay.
and one of the friends is my friend's now fiance, a man
Mm-hmm.
who cares about sport, and we were playing Trivial Pursuit, and he and I were neck and neck, and this
You
was
were necking.
and this was like the last question where like if I got this right,
You
I
take
would
the
win
whole
the
pie.
game.
Yep.
Yes.
The
And
pie is yours.
Everything was on the line.
Everything. I've never won a game of Trivial
It
Pursuit.
was in the last seconds and you shot a basket.
It was a 3-pointer.
after the buzzer had gone off.
Buzzard.
Buzzard.
Anyway,
Before the alarm went off.
A 10-pointer after the buzzard had gone off.
The siren.
Okay. So what was the question?
and
In the fifth quarter.
Then he pulled it, and it's a sports category, and he just had this gloating look on his face, and he was like, oh, da, da, da. And it was something about like the team name or the team mascot of some like Georgia whatever college
Florida Georgia
football
Line.
team.
Okay.
Ole Miss.
Oh, Roll Tide.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like big smirk on his face, whatever. And I'm just like, I have no idea. Like I'm going through and I'm like, well, I know it's not a dolphin.
Right.
It's
You're just
probably
going through
not
every
Every other animal. Yeah.
might not even be an animal.
And finally,
Why
he's
not?
like, I need a final answer. Like, just just need your answer. And I was like, okay, final answer, bulldog. Just out of fucking nowhere. And it was right. And
Yes!
I won on that question.
That
and
is a
it's
Hail Mary.
still one of the highlights of my whole life.
I'm very proud.
I'm
Thank
proud
you.
of you too. I'm surprised you haven't tweeted about it, and that tweet resurfaces everywhere I look.
Tell me about it.
The way I am
Twitter
haunted by
goes
Kenyon's
down-
tweets.
If Twitter goes down once and for all, then it might be a blessing to just kill that tweet forever.
Honestly,
It's on Instagram though.
Yeah, it can't be killed. It's part of the very fabric of our nation.
And it's just complaining. Like, I think
I
you
know.
texted us the
It's-
same thing earlier, and we're like,
yeah.
yeah, hun.
Mhm.
Oh, I know.
It's
Anyway,
unbelievable. I love it. My anecdote today is that I put on a bra for 1 hour and it hurt me, and so I took it off.
My anecdote, I have a joke for us if you want.
oh,
Oh
okay.
my god. I saw this in your notes when I was putting in my wine notes.
Don't think about it too hard. Just let me have this.
I know. And I almost texted you being like, really? We're on FIFA Crimes? You're gonna do this?
It's
Okay, go
because I
ahead.
watched an episode of Somebody Feed Phil, and he always like FaceTimes his famous friends and has his famous friends tell him a bad joke.
Okay.
How do you keep bagels from getting stolen?
I don't know.
You put locks on them.
Ah! Ah!
Anyway, should we drink?
I've been drinking. I have Kahlua in my coffee.
Good for you. Good
What
for
are you
you. I
drinking?
like
What's
it.
our wine crime pairing, Amanda?
There it is. There it is.
I can do my job.
Yep, you're nailing it. So this will be funny to the approximately 6 soccer fans that we might have listening to this show. I found this article of what you drink based on what soccer team you are a fan of, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll read just the little like highlights. So
Is it just beer?
it's not.
Oh.
If you're a Chelsea FC, like football club fan, you drink Jack Daniels. If you are a Paris, like France football team fan, you drink either Saint Germain or the most expensive bottle you could find at the store.
Love it.
Is it
Felt fitting.
Manchester a big one too?
Oh, we'll get to it.
Oh, okay.
If you are a Bayern Munich fan, you take full-blown beer showers. Just beer. Jägermeister. If you're a Liverpool fan, you drink Chardonnay.
Oh,
I didn't look
it
deeper into
pools
why.
in your
I
liver.
just thought these were funny. Bloney was an Arsenal fan, so this cracked me up because he used to take shots of this and chase it with pancakes in college. If you are a Tottenham/Arsenal fan, you drink Everclear.
Oh.
Everclear shots chased with pancakes.
Like
That-
a pancake.
Like
That's-
fold a pancake in half and shove it in your mouth.
Okay, that's the only acceptable chaser for an Everclear shot. And also
College
that
was
is
wild.
a young man's game.
It's
It is-
diesel.
oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, as what is it? Ron Swanson says it could take the paint off of boats. It's used to strip varnish off of boats.
The only time
Yeah.
I ever drank Everclear was with Lucy at UNI.
I mean, I've used it to make like limoncello and shit,
What-
but
yeah,
you don't
I put it in
just
Jello shots.
drink it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a Real Madrid fan, you drink champagne.
Real.
Real, sorry. Thank you. I
Sport!
clearly I clearly know.
Touchdown! Yellow
Leicester
card.
City?
Leicester?
Leicester?
I think
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire City.
Leicester City? You drink Natty Light.
Oh, they have that in Europe?
I guess.
He bit
Wow.
Atlanta? You drink Fireball.
Mm.
And if you're a Manchester United fan, this says Bruno Fernandes made you stop drinking.
Don't get
Which
it.
means he probably let you down in some way. If you're a Barcelona fan, you drink sangria.
me. Duh.
And that's where it ends. But I am not a fan of any soccer team. So I thought, what is the least similar to what is on this list? And I have absolutely found it because it was already in my fridge.
LaCroix.
Nope. Worse. I reached for a hard Mountain Dew black cherry
Ooh, my friend Bo was into those for a minute.
just to harm myself and everyone listening as much as this episode topic has harmed me.
Yeah.
It's zero
Diabetes.
sugar. It's
Okay,
zero
okay,
sugar.
Okay.
It's the first thing everyone says, so it's my first
She must have
response.
forgotten.
Yeah, I forgot I have diabetes. God damn.
shoot.
Again? Damn it.
Still.
It's still here. Oh, my camera just fell. Oh my
We're so professional.
God. I'm amazing.
This is either going to be the longest episode or the shortest episode we've ever done.
You know, why don't we just quit while we're ahead? Special
Can we
thanks.
shoot for shortest?
Yeah, I'm trying. 5% ABV. I have no further information. Zero sugar, clear on the label.
Red dye number 68.
69.
Nice.
Yeah, 5%. You got to be 21 plus to ride this ride, even though it looks like it's made for children.
Or 18 plus in Europe.
True. And they do make a Baja Blast
Wow.
hard Mountain Dew, but I drank all those already. So,
This wasn't a once-off purchase.
oh my God, no. Like,
I did
these,
not.
like, I, like, have these in my fridge.
I did
You
not
guys,
know
I'm-
Mountain Dew made these.
I'm gross. This is not new. Shall we crack?
I'm
Do it.
gross.
You guys, I'm gross. Here we go. Oh, it sounds flat. Nice crack. How long have these been in my fridge?
Nothing better than a lukewarm, flat,
It's cold. It's
hard
cold.
Mountain Dew, zero sugar. All
Mm.
right, on that note,
Everclear
Lucy.
doesn't sound that bad anymore.
Yeah, does anyone have pancakes?
You know what? It's still fresh. I like it.
Lucy, what is
Fucking
our
delicious.
background and maybe psych for FIFA Crimes?
No psych. Did you see the cork fly off just then?
We're a mess.
Why are we like this today and every day of our
I
lives?
don't know.
I don't know, but I let my hair air dry earlier, and that was a mistake.
I disagree. I
Rusty
think
milk-soaked bathrobe.
I brought a special guest, the pimple on my eyelid. So,
The fourth gal.
The fourth gal.
Okay, I
Guys,
already
it's almost our holiday break. We have senior slump so hard right now. We are fucking over it.
Exactly. We're
And our
so
editors,
close to the holiday.
we're so close to the holidays. Our editor's like, can you please, he texted me this morning. He's like, can you please try to get to 301 before Christmas? And I was like, I am going to do the best I can. I was like, that means we will have to record 2 episodes next week. I don't know if it's doable, but we're going to try.
oh my god.
Sounds horrible.
Kenyon,
but
you'll
we
be
can
fine.
do We can do it.
Okay.
Yeah, you had a break.
Yeah, fucking for real.
Yeah, it was
You had a very
so easy.
leisurely break.
Bed
You had
rest
nothing
plus
else
major
going on.
abdominal surgery and
You're
a newborn.
fine. Yeah.
Cool.
Working
You already
should be
had
a
time
relief.
off. Yeah.
Cool.
This should be your happy place.
Moving on.
Okay, I already told my joke. FIFA stands for the Fédération Internationale de Football Association. That said, it's French. That said, I will frequently be referring to the sport as soccer, and you will get over it.
Yep.
FIFA estimated that at the turn of the 21st century, there were approximately 250 million soccer players and over 1.3 billion people interested in the game of soccer.
In general, soccer players, does this include like my nieces playing pee-wee soccer?
Sure.
Okay.
Because you don't have to
Not
be a professional.
professional.
You don't
Okay.
have to be a professional in FIFA. That's why it's such a like fairy tale, like not Peter Pan, but like kind of like a Robin Hood-y sort of. It's like for the people because there are professional athletes playing with just regular
A
people
guy
who have
who's
like
really fucking
risen
good
up
at soccer.
through their
Okay.
regional tournaments.
Got it.
That's why people love it so much. And then if
that
they
makes
win,
so much more sense to me why it's like not just fandom, but like fandom mania.
yeah, because
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
The stories are there. Like the human stories are so vivid probably in a lot of these like favorite teams and players and shit.
yeah, like then in the case of like whichever country wins and like the person who like scores the winning goal and like maybe they were just like from their little small town in like Venezuela or like whatever, and then they're like a national hero, and
That's fucking cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I will
So
give it that much.
that is the most I'm gonna give it.
It's also like the cheapest sport to play, pretty much. Like
Yeah.
all you need is one ball.
Right. And the uniforms aren't like tons of pads and helmets
Yeah.
and like all kinds of shit. Yeah, that makes
Yep.
sense.
Like
Kinda bare
obviously at the
bones.
professional level, like you need all kinds of shit, and they
Sure.
find ways to spend money on all kinds of shit. But like, in order to just play the sport, it can be played in informal settlements. It can be played by like people who really don't have means to play other sports.
right.
It's also an incredibly old game, and I didn't go into the history of soccer itself because I fear in my heart that we're going to have to do soccer crimes at some point.
Yeah,
No.
don't.
We
make us.
do have the ability to decline fan picks. And I am pre-declining soccer crimes. Yeah,
God
way too
forbid
dark.
this podcast goes another 10 years and we're just scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, if we're doing soccer crimes, something has gone terribly wrong.
Yeah,
Call
send
for
a
help.
welfare check.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. FIFA projected that more than 5 billion people will watch the 2022 World Cup, which, as we record, is still happening. It goes for a month.
Oh dear God!
I know.
The fact that 5 billion people will estimated
out of
watch it.
8 billion
And
total
we just hit
people.
8
Most
billion
of the
total
planet.
people on the planet. And think of how many people are babies.
Yeah, how many people are babies and how many
Blind.
people like
Yeah.
don't have access to television
Well, I mean,
sets?
blind people can still get audio description and watch.
I know.
television,
I'm
but
just taking
yes.
it literally.
Right.
So yeah, most of the planet. And like we were kind of saying, don't get me wrong, I appreciate things that pull everyone on the planet together on a scale like this.
Not this.
But it's just too bad that it's a game and not like combating climate change.
at,
or
yeah,
something
at
like
what
that.
cost?
Mm-hmm. In fact, worsening climate change. The World Cup is a soccer tournament hosted every 4 years by FIFA. First organized in, so the first game that they played was in 1930 and was won by Uruguay. The World Cup has been held every 4 years since, the only exception being during and immediately after World War II. Since 1991, FIFA has also hosted a Women's World Cup, whose inaugural tournament was won by the United States. I feel like I remember that happening, and it was an
I feel
enormous
like that was
deal.
a really big deal.
Yeah.
To the point where it actually bubbled up into our consciousness.
And memory.
Yeah.
Not mine.
Mhm.
Zach said something the other day about like I think the U.S. men's team was playing Iran or something, and he was like he like came home from watching it, and I was like, "Who won?" And he was like, "You seriously don't know? Like that didn't on Twitter and all your conversations and all your texting and your TV, you don't know the answer."
Even
I
I
was like,
know.
No. Anyway.
Well, the U.S. won, and I listened to something on NPR that day that they played a few days ago. That it was an American guy who used to live in Iran, and he was like, he went on the air and was like, you would think that I would be rooting for the United States because I'm an American, but given how much I know that the country of Iran and the injustices that are happening over there now, those players can get punished for the speaking out that they did at the World Cup against their country's government, and B, the longer they're in the tournament, the more attention is being paid to what's going on in Iran. So he was just saying, I would absolutely take a loss for my country to keep their causes elevated for longer.
Yeah, that was fucking heartbreaking. Like the fact that their own government is threatening to torture and kill their families if they speak out at all. Like, did you see the video of those players like mouthing along to their national anthem and just like the heartbreak in their yes. That's just a human interest story. That's beyond sport.
Yeah. Which the human interest side, Jesus Christ, is something that I can get behind. But I just, it's a lot of wading through sport to get there. And I just wasn't in me today. Okay, unlike Olympic football, soccer, World Cup teams aren't limited by age or amateur status. So like I was saying before, since players from professional as well as amateur teams are free to take part, the World Cup serves as a competition between the best soccer stars in the world, and top players have a chance to become national heroes if they win it all for their country. So back to FIFA. It was founded in 1904, and its initial purpose was to oversee international competition between Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland. So it was just European teams, and it was just those specific countries. Today, its membership comprises 211 national associations. So it is all over the world, and actually FIFA itself isn't split up into different continents, but like there are continental, like regional groups,
which we will get to.
Yeah. But yeah, it's everywhere. It's all over. Not Antarctica. I didn't see that, but
they also have like more national associations than there are like officially recognized countries in the United Nations.
That's ridiculous.
It's amazing.
The way it breaks down into all of its little segments and parts, it's just like, Jesus Christ. It's everywhere. It's really like fragmented, and it seems disorganized, but whatever. FIFA is based in Zurich. They do have a flag, and it is, shall we say, straightforward. And that flag is in my folder, which will be on the drive. No, it's just blue, and it says FIFA in white.
No. That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
That's so boring.
It's really boring.
That's just a logo.
They didn't even make the trademark a soccer ball. Like, missed opportunity.
Idiots. Fucking idiots.
Yeah, FIFA with the just R circle, registered trademark. Yeah.
Boo.
Anyway, hate their flag, moving on. The first FIFA tournament proved to be more popular than its Olympic predecessors, where only professionals could compete. So the public had more of an interest in watching FIFA tournaments because there were regular people in there also.
Right.
So they were like, oh shit, we definitely need to keep this going. Membership of FIFA expanded beyond Europe with the application of South Africa in 1909, Argentina in 1912, Canada and Chile in 1913, and the U.S. in 1914. World War I put FIFA's future into doubt since many of the players were sent off to war and also no one could travel. Post-war, the organization was revived, but the UK briefly withdrew because they didn't want to compete with countries that were so recently their like mortal enemies in wartime.
That's fair as well.
But then they got over it and rejoined.
Okay.
It's important to note that FIFA does not set the rules of the game. So that is left to the International Football Association. So FIFA's shtick is to provide efforts to ensure that the sport is accessible to everyone and to advocate for integrity and fair play. But as we know...
That is laughable.
I know. As we know, fairness doesn't really apply when there are billions and billions of dollars involved.
Billions and billions.
Billions. Quote, all FIFA tournaments generate revenue from sponsorship. In 2018, FIFA had revenues of over $4.6 billion US dollars, ending the 2015 through 2018 cycle with a net positive of $1.2 billion US dollars, and had cash reserves of over $2.7 billion.
And that's just above board. That's just what we know. That's not under the table shit.
Correct.
Some of which I'll be covering, but on a very mild scale. But like, does that... Excuse me.
It's like mostly ad revenue.
Crazy.
It's like ad revenue,
right.
sponsorship.
You're probably going to answer this, so you can just shut me down if you do. But when a place is chosen to host the World Cup, does FIFA sponsor like the building of a new stadium? I didn't think so.
No, the host country has to
is
pay
responsible
for all that.
Okay, okay, that's what I thought.
FIFA doesn't
with the
pay
Olympics.
them
like,
anything. It's the
Well,
host country.
Certain
get money.
circumstances they do, and we will get to it. But
okay, and they probably just get so much money from tourism that they're like, yeah, we'll
That's
make
the
that
bet.
back. But
in a throwback to last night's episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, as we know from Angie K, if you host the event, you pay for it.
right. That's what I thought. I just wanted to be sure.
Yep.
Okay.
FIFA leadership has been linked to corruption, bribery, money laundering, and vote rigging related to the election of FIFA president Sepp Blatter.
Oh my God, I can't. I reference Sepp Blatter in my fucking case too. It's so gross.
As well as the organization's decision to host the two most recent tournaments in Russia and Qatar, respectively.
And if you watch Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, he just did a really in-depth episode about the current World Cup. So if this is of interest to you, specifically more the like
How
human
Qatar
rights
got it.
Right, the human rights and sort of like political angle of it. That's a very good, very funny, but also like, if I could fucking understand it, anyone can understand it, even if you've never looked at a soccer ball in your life.
I should have watched that before I wrote my notes because I talk
it's
a lot
really
about
good.
that kind of shit too.
Yeah, it's really good. So watch it later. It's on HBO. You got this.
I might watch it in a couple days when I get over.
Yeah, that's
this.
fair. We've been deeply entrenched in the FIFA world for the last 3 days that we kept delaying recording because we couldn't bring ourselves to finish
We
writing.
didn't want to fucking do it.
Yeah. We're fine.
So many of our listeners are probably already aware of most of this year's controversies, but I'm going to give us a quick rundown since, alas, we are currently balls deep in FIFA season. It's awful.
Does Corey
The
watch?
most horrible time of the
Zach is
year.
really into it. He's gotten really into soccer this year as if he wasn't already into enough fucking sport.
It's not okay to add a new sport after you're married.
That's
Like that
what
shouldn't be
I
allowed.
said.
Yeah.
That should you that's false pretenses.
Yes.
You married him under an already accepted amount of sport fandom.
Yes.
And now he's added a totally
And
new
he's like
one.
really added, like he like has a team, like he's an Everton fan, and he like watches all the games and like
No.
has merch.
No.
Oh my
divorce.
God.
Divorce.
And then
Absolutely
he started
not.
watching the Formula One show on Netflix.
What?
And I was
No.
like, no, like you're not allowed.
I'm
Enough
shutting
is
this
enough.
down.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Zach got into NASCAR? And he would, because Zach, I feel like,
He absolutely
loves a good story and loves funny merch.
He also loves redneck shit for some
Right.
reason.
He's super
It's
into
very
redneck
exotic
shit.
for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did go to a figure eight race in Indiana where
They
they,
fucking love it.
oh yeah, it was like a kid in a candy store. He was like losing his mind. But that's where they go in a figure eight shape and then they can like hit each other.
Mm-hmm. That
Oh,
sounds
like
rad.
roller derby.
It was actually, it was kind of really
That's
fun.
like when I went on that swamp tour
Yeah.
outside of Louisiana and I was texting all of you and I was like, I think I'm a swamp person
I'm a
now.
swamp gal.
I'm swamp
gross.
gal. I'm gross, you guys. I was like, I'm all in on swamp fandom. I'm adding it to my list.
Anyway.
Okay. So, firstly, this year's tournament in Qatar is the first time the World Cup has been held in an Arab country. It's also the smallest country ever to host. I think oh yeah, I'll get to how small it is. It's very small. So people were really excited when this decision was announced in 2010 to host it in Qatar. And this is from NPR. But the choice also sparked instant criticism over the logistics of holding a sporting event in a country where summertime temperatures regularly top 100 degrees, over allegations of bribery and corruption among FIFA officials who voted for Qatar, and over concerns about human rights abuses that have persisted in the years since. Recently, even the former head of FIFA called the selection of Qatar a mistake. So this is Sepp Blatter. Blatter.
Blatter.
Blattler would be better.
It would be better. Blatter.
Bladder.
Is the worst way to spell bladder
Yeah.
that exists.
And Sep is not helping.
Oh.
Sounds like
septic.
Septic.
Sepsis.
Sepsis bladder.
I have a
Septic bladder. I can't.
Well, okay.
This is your god, soccer people.
Former
Septic
god.
bladder. This. Put his
So,
face up on
Sep
intermediate.
says, quote, it was a bad choice.
Aside.
It was a bad choice, and I was responsible for that as president at the time.
Yeah, he really sepped in it.
So he was he was impeached as FIFA administrator in 2015 amid a bribery scandal.
Which we will get
You can
to.
get impeached.
Oh, we will get to
They
it.
get fired,
Wow.
basically,
Wow.
when they get caught for doing something
He
bad.
had to
Wild corruption.
step down in disgrace.
He did. He had to step down.
Okay, this is how small Qatar is, and Amanda will appreciate this specifically. At just 4,471 square miles, Qatar is 20% smaller than the state of Connecticut. So it takes
I do appreciate that because Connecticut is quite small.
Yeah.
Qatar is like the Delaware of countries.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Much of the country is a barren, sandy plain, and most of its 2.8 million residents, which is like so few residents, live in the area around the capital, Doha. When it won selection in 2010, Qatar lacked many of the stadiums, hotels, and highways needed to stage the tournament.
Highways. I mean, that level of infrastructure building
Yeah.
in 12 years
Yeah.
is
They just
unfathomable.
went full bore. They did have a great airport, but other than that, just
Became a
Nothing.
city, built a brand new city, basically.
And I have
And
photos,
I know they talk. Yeah.
I have photos on the drive of them building these stadiums, and the stadiums are fucking wild looking.
They're nuts. Yeah.
Mhm.
They're beautiful. They're beautifully designed, but they're really wild.
They're really, really wild. Okay, so they lacked all this shit needed to stage the tournament. To build them, the country turned to its massive population of migrant workers who make up 90% or more of its labor force. Only about 300,000 of Qatar's residents are Qatari citizens, which is fucking weird. Far outnumbering them are migrant workers whose visas are tied to their employment, which is a system that is common in the Middle East.
Mhm.
Working and living conditions for these migrant workers, were frequently exploitative and dangerous. A 2021 investigation by The Guardian found that more than 6,500 migrant workers from 5 South Asian countries had died in Qatar since 2010 from all causes. So that includes workplace accidents, car crashes, suicides, and deaths from other causes, including the heat.
yeah.
But like
Stroke.
reasons that they wouldn't be facing if they were coming to build this specific thing.
Well, they're
right.
there. They're treated like shit. Sometimes they're not. They're basically sometimes trafficked.
Mhm.
Right.
Like in order to count as a trafficking victim, a labor trafficking victim, you just have to basically be misled about
The conditions
the
or
conditions
the pay or
yeah, exactly. So they knew that they were going there to work, but they didn't know how bad it would be. And then once they're there, the exploitation gets worse, and they're not even allowed to leave.
Mhm.
Ugh.
So, quote, some of them include workers who collapsed on the stadium construction site and died after they were taken off of it. Others died in road traffic accidents on their way to work in a company bus, and many others died suddenly in an unexplained way in their labor camps, says Pete Pattison, one of the reporters on the investigation, in an interview with NPR.
Some
And
people
those camps are not, at least in this specific story, are not good.
No.
No.
There are no amenities. A lot of them don't have running water.
It reminded me
like-
of like the settlements in Cape Town. Or not settlements.
They work like 12+ hour days in scorching heat without
And they
adequate
go back to
food and water.
a tent with like maybe a fan.
With like a cot. And they would some people just died from exhaustion or lack of medical care.
It's just fucking heartbreaking.
So FIFA and Qatar dispute that number, saying that there have only been 3 deaths directly related to the World Cup.
I'm sure.
Nope.
3. It's so laughable.
Like,
like if you're gonna throw out a fake number, at least throw out a believable fake.
Right.
maybe there were only 3 that were like definitively proven by an outside source.
103% of the electoral vote.
3 people probably died like making American Girl dolls in the last 5 years.
Right.
Like this is such a low number.
Right. Someone just said a few.
Yeah. Wow.
In 2014, the country introduced a set of workers' welfare standards that created new protections, although advocates say the new regulations are not always enforced.
Meaning not at all.
Almost never.
Mm-hmm.
There was also pressure on FIFA and Qatar to create a remedy fund to compensate migrant workers and the families of those who died and endured abuses while building infrastructures for the World Cup. So that was the circumstance where I said that FIFA will monetarily finance or compensate for something. Human rights groups say that total should be no less than $440 million, which is the amount of the prize money for the winner of the World Cup.
Oh,
I think that's fair.
I didn't know that the winner got prize
Got
money.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course it should be at least that. Ugh.
It won't be.
It won't be. And it's not just the migrant workers who have suffered human rights violations. Qatar is not a safe place for women or the LGBTQ community, among others. Qatar's penal code criminalizes sex outside of marriage, which has led to the prosecution of rape victims.
Yeah, they've had to say, like, FIFA has had to, like, put out statements to be like, if...
We don't endorse this, but if you're gay, don't come here.
Yeah, or if you're raped while attending the games, go to your embassy. Do not try to get help from the local law enforcement because there's a very high chance that you'll be prosecuted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you imagine wanting to travel to a place like
you're a straight white guy who just wants to go watch soccer games?
Yeah. True. Yeah. Which again, this is just so many ways
if your privilege envelops
exactly.
you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And homosexuality is effectively criminalized. Sex between men is punishable by up to 7 years in prison, and men who, quote, instigate or entice another man to commit an act of sodomy or immorality could face 1 to 3 years imprisonment. God. In a recent interview with a German broadcaster, a Qatari ambassador for the World Cup described homosexuality as, quote, damage in the mind.
Listen, I'm damaged in the mind, but my little bit of gayness has nothing to do with it. I'm damaged for other reasons.
That's one of my best parts of my mind.
Yeah,
that's the only functioning part of my mind is the one that slept with women. It's the only part that works. The only one that got it right.
I mean, when you look at the facts. And
she got overruled.
Yeah. I also mentioned bribery earlier. There are very valid concerns and allegations that the selection of Qatar itself was the result of corruption, quote, of political machinations going on in terms of government deals, gas deals between countries that would have a vote on who would host the World Cup finals. Qatar, Middle East, lots of fucking oil, lots of resources, shitload of money.
It's a political and capitalist decision.
Money changed hands, of course.
Absolutely.
It makes no sense for that to be in Qatar. None.
There are reports of Qatari officials like just handing people envelopes with $40,000 of cash in them.
Oh, great.
It's traceable.
Apparently, like all the different countries that have to like put together their pitch for like why they should host the World Cup. They, it's tons of different kinds of like marketing materials, and it's basically like one big like tourism ad package, big huge binders with information and facts, whatever.
Imagine the PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, the PowerPoint presentations, all this shit. Apparently, only one member of the like selection committee from FIFA actually asked to see the binder that Qatar put forward.
Wow.
They just voted
without
even looking at the info.
They may as well not have even given a presentation.
They don't give a shit. It's all about money and perks.
Mm-hmm. And I think it was in 2014. I don't have this in my notes specifically, but I've read a little bit about it. And do you remember the World Cup in Brazil? Mm-hmm. How they
I remember that they had it.
Well, they had to
clear out about Brazil.
They had to clear out and like evict like 100,000 poor people from the favelas to
and it's not like they were relocating them.
No, they just kicked them out.
Get the fuck out. Mm-hmm. Bye.
It was a shitload of pollution in the rainforest. Like that country is deeply, deeply scarred from that event. Mm-hmm. Like
it's like China hosting the Olympics. They just kicked a bunch of poor people out of their neighborhoods and
and built a facility that will be used one time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what the fuck are they gonna? Are you looking at these stadiums? What the fuck are they gonna use these for later? This one looks like tiramisu.
It does. I think the plan is always to like use them for other sporting events in the future or other tourism.
And make them a destination for other large events because this already exists.
And like sport people like will weirdly travel to a place that has previously hosted an event like
Chinese
this
one
to like see the stadiums, which makes no fucking sense to me.
But there isn't like enough of that kind of tourism.
No, it never
to
fully
justify it.
Nothing will outweigh the damage that's already been done by building it in the first fucking place.
But Qatar basically wanted to like put itself on the map and become and like try to compete more with like much more popular neighbors like Dubai. Mm-hmm, and so this was just like the first step in that process.
Of resources just, like, to do it.
Like we're talking about Qatar right now, which like 15 years ago, a lot of Americans without a lot of travel experience might not have ever heard of Qatar. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. There's also like a claim that they made that all the stadiums were going to be carbon neutral. And like the whole thing was going to be carbon neutral and like green.
Well, it's funny because
hilarious.
You're in the desert.
Well, but John Oliver has actually done an episode about this too, where corporations buy credits essentially to call themselves carbon neutral by supporting other companies that like plant a tree or whatever.
They're probably not fucking doing that either.
But even if they were, that does not. We call that carbon neutrality in heavy quotes. That's not at all what it fucking means.
Right.
Most corporations that call themselves carbon neutral are only carbon neutral because they get tax deductible. They make tax deductible contributions. To organizations that
Tesla.
Yeah.
Ew.
But, other organizations that like do environmental relief, like planting trees, etc. But like even some of those organizations, this episode is so incredible to watch of Last Week Tonight. It's really interesting. It's from this season as well. But like even some of those organizations, it's like this isn't even up to the most recent science behind what we actually need for climate repair or any kind of climate change. And so we're still like patting ourselves on the back for planting trees that actually aren't fucking doing anything and might actually be leaching more resources. So it's just like, it's so every thread you pull, man. It's crazy, man. It's fucking crazy.
Yep. We're all going down.
Man. We're fucking screwed.
Might as well drink your hard Mountain Dew.
Oh, man.
We're all fucked.
We're all fucked.
Okay, so back to the bribery. About a dozen of the FIFA officials involved in the selection of Qatar have since received bans from the organization, including its former president, Septic Blatter, or been indicted over allegations of corruption.
We will get to it.
In 2019, French soccer great and former head of European soccer Michael Platini was arrested during an investigation into a $2 million payment connected to his efforts to bring the World Cup to Qatar. There's just so many, like, it's a fact. Like,
the money was just flowing around. There are a million people. They all did the same thing. It's one of those instances where, like, people justify accepting bribes and all that kind of corruption because like everyone's doing it, but like everyone really fucking was doing it. Yeah.
And Blatter and Platini have both denied wrongdoing. A 20
I love when you use your news anchor voice. It's my favorite.
A 2014
Bladder and Blandini.
Lifestyles of the rich and
Rich and
septic.
famous. Septic platter.
A 2015 FIFA inquiry exonerated Qatari officials of any impropriety, allowing the tournament to go ahead.
That's insane.
This is from Reuters. The Qatar World Cup is the first to be held in a Muslim country with strict controls on alcohol, presenting challenges for the organizers of an event sponsored by a beer brand.
The World Cup.
I'm pretty sure it's sponsored by
Everclear.
Budweiser.
English, Brits, and Germans are going to come here.
Right.
What are you doing?
The whole
The
thing is
Irish?
sponsored by Budweiser, and often associated with beer drinking fans. Yeah.
The real sport is the drinking, and then
Absolutely.
the soccer is the entertainment.
Is the justification for the drinking.
Right. I saw a video of they were like celebrating some win, and it was a news reporter interviewing a guy who was speaking a language I didn't recognize, and then this like wasted British guy pops in on the side, just his red ass face, just sweating, and he just goes, "Je suis une baguette," and
Yep.
That was me, and I'm not sorry about it. Because je suis une baguette.
yeah, why not? I am a jelly donut or whatever.
I super sweet a baguette.
I super sweet a baguette.
Super
I want a
sweet.
baguette.
Fucking
Yarm.
yum. Okay.
Yo quiero un baguette.
Donde ma baguette.
Donde está mi baguette?
Okay. The country said it would let ticketed fans buy beer at matches starting 3 hours before kickoff and for 1 hour after the final whistle, but not during the match. So that was the agreement that they promised beforehand. Plans were made to have areas for drunk fans to sober up, with tournament chief Al Qader saying the move was to make sure fans were safe and not harmful to others or themselves. But on November 18th, which was like right before this shit started, FIFA said that alcoholic beer would not be sold at stadiums, a last-minute reversal that raised questions among some supporters about Qatar's ability to deliver on any promises made to their fans.
Yeah, it was a bait and switch.
And like the most egregious one in the eyes of the fans.
I'd be
Right.
so mad if I were like a
Paid
English
all that
fan.
money to travel there, and then the whole experience is very different than the experience you're seeking. And like people are commenting and saying like you have to respect Qatar's local culture. And it's like, yes, if you're a regular tourist, sure. But this was a deal that was like hashed out in minute detail for brand sponsorship, and then they pulled the plug last minute, like making a very conscious choice to do the old switcheroo when it was too late to change.
Well, they probably would
venues.
not have made nearly as much money off of, sponsorship for sure. And
People
ticket
coming.
sales. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
The tourism aspect.
Right.
It was calculated, and it was kind of fucked up. Then we have the armbands. The captains of England, Wales, Belgium, the Netherlands, Switzerland, Germany, and Denmark had planned to wear One Love armbands designed to convey a message against discrimination, but were told by FIFA that they would be booked, which I Googled. It means they'd be given a yellow card. And I don't know what that means, but it sounded bad.
It's like it's a level of punishment. It's like a level
It's a
of
watch out.
consequence.
It's like a green
it's
slip.
a warning. And that's also like using soccer terminology because you get cards
Yeah.
for like fouls and shit on the field.
Well, I know that, but I didn't know what that
But
entailed in terms of wearing a
apply that
armband. You're out for 10 minutes? I don't know what that really
They
means.
apply that. I saw this in some of my research where they like apply that system in like the microcosm of the World Cup because it's like a universally understood point system or like warning system among fans of soccer. So no matter where you're hosting it, it's like, we know what this means. So we're going to use this terminology in terms of like, repercussions or consequences
On
for
and off the field.
Yeah,
right
that makes
actions
sense.
on and off the field. Yeah.
I just didn't know what that literally meant
Yeah.
for the players.
Like, does
It's
that
dumb
mean
and I
they
hate it.
can't play in a game? Does
Right.
that mean they can't play for 10 minutes? Does that
Exactly.
mean if they do one more thing, they can't, they lose a member?
They'd be punished to some degree if they wore the armbands, according to FIFA.
Because free speech.
The German Football Association said federations who planned to wear the armbands were faced with, quote, extreme blackmail that led to them dropping the gesture. So it wasn't just the threat of of the yellow card punishment.
No,
they
it's
were
like
being,
violence against them, probably.
Yeah.
Blackmail?
Extreme blackmail.
So, like, somebody was investigating their personal lives and threatening to, like, expose shit? Wow.
Yep. According to FIFA rules, team equipment must not have any political, religious, or personal slogans, statements, or images. And during FIFA final competitions, the captain of each team, quote, must wear the armband provided by FIFA. FIFA also rejected the Belgium team's away strip. I don't know. Because the word love, they had the word love on the collar combined with a rainbow colored trim on the shirt.
Wow.
Yeah. Last but not least, the fact that Qatar is so fucking hot in the summertime meant that the tournament would have to be held in November and December. This schedule is at odds with many countries' professional soccer team schedules. For example, in Europe, their seasons typically last late summer through early spring, as we all know.
Of course.
Many have had to announce a 2-month break in their seasons, like at home. For a typical World Cup tournament, professional players get about a month to prepare for the tournament and a bit more than a month to recover after they go back to their home games.
Damn.
This year, however, prep and recovery time has dropped down to about a week to prepare and to recover.
Damn.
Overlapping
That's rough.
Yeah. So this a report states, quote, overlapping competitions, consecutive back-to-back matches, extreme weather conditions, a condensed preparation period, and insufficient recovery time together pose an ominous danger to player health and performance. So basically, the risk of injury for the players is way higher this year than it has been elsewhere.
Cool.
So that's my segment.
Wow.
I hope
Interesting
you learned
stuff.
a lot about FIFA because it's a huge, corrupt, horrible thing for the planet.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready for my case?
Yes.
I got Stroop waffle because I am high.
I really want a stroopwafel.
Yeah, that sounds delicious.
They're so
It's
good.
good.
I used to get them at the airport all the time. Okay. Like coming in and back and forth for wine and crime shit. I would often have a layover in Amsterdam. Okay.
God, but don't brag.
Wasn't a brag. I would eat stroopwafel at the airport.
It's fucking good.
It's great.
Okay. How is that a brag? Okay.
Move on, both of you.
So, FIFA, corruption.
What do you like most and least about each other?
Yeah. My lack of stroopwafel is what I like least about myself right now. Okay.
Same.
So when I think of FIFA, I think of incomprehensible offsides rules that not even Keira Knightley in Bend It Like Beckham could help me remember.
What does that mean?
Have
Just
you never-
rules?
Neither of you get that joke? It's fine. Someone out there gets it. Okay. Or makes me sad. Neither of you have seen Bend It Like Beckham?
Yeah, I saw it 15 years ago. I don't remember the soccer shit.
I
Keira
do
Knightley
remember
taught
Kenyon
me.
being a big fan of that movie.
Yeah, you loved that movie.
Yeah.
I saw it the appropriate once.
Once.
I think I've seen
At
it
the
like
dock
10 times.
upstairs.
Okay.
That was more than 15 years ago. We were in high school when that came out.
Oh, it was like 20 years
20.
ago. Wow.
Easy
oh my
20.
God. Okay.
And yet, we're the psychos who don't get the
People
joke.
out there will get that joke, and please
You don't
let
get
me
that
know on
Citizen
Twitter
Kane
if you
joke?
got that
Oh
joke.
my
Okay.
God, it's a classic.
Or interminably long games ending in a nothing draw, which is soccer.
That I hate. That's fucking stupid.
Yep.
Like, we have
Oh.
overtime for a reason.
Yeah. Also, like,
And-
is it that hard to score a goal? Why do we go this long without scoring a
Right?
goal?
And the fake injuries can't.
Oh my God.
Like,
so
it's
obnoxious.
so
I hate
stupid
it.
and annoying. And I know it's part of, like, the culture.
It's hilarious.
Fuck it. No, it's annoying. It would be hilarious if it only happened a couple times.
Mhm.
It is fucking constant. If you fart too close, their neck is broken.
and then when the call is made, then they just bounce right back. There's like no shame. They don't even continue to limp.
It's embarrassing. It's cringe.
I prefer hockey fights.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Far
at least
and
they're
away.
getting punched. They rip their helmets off so they can, punch
Those
in the face.
are real fights.
Yeah.
I like hockey.
Me
Hockey's
too.
fun
Hockey's,
and scary. And
if I have to pick a sport, it's hockey, and not just because I'm
Hands
forced to watch it.
Hockey
it's
when it's
actually
hockey season
interesting
every
to
time I go
watch.
home.
Yeah, it's fun and scary. There's blades. One guy got cut in the neck.
Yeah.
Bled everywhere.
Yeah. Psh, psh.
Hockey's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Soccer can suck it.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to our hockey podcast. Back to you, Kenyon.
Okay. So, don't worry, there's a whole other side to the sport of soccer, and this side exists only in smoky back rooms in Trump Tower, and we will get to it.
Oh, good.
Can you imagine all these fuckers in Trump Tower?
Of course,
with their,
Trump is involved in this bullshit.
with their very fancy, glass snifters for very expensive whiskey, and then I just
Hard
come by
Mountain
pretending
Dew.
to do wine service and pour hard Mountain Dew in all their glasses.
More
and then scurry
cognac,
away
just
like
a little
mouse.
bit and let him
More
sniff it.
cognac. More cognac, Monsieur Trump.
All right. So much has been written about the FIFA corruption scandals surrounding Russia and Qatar's hosting bids in 2018 and 2022, respectively. As we've talked about, I'm trying to move on.
Do you do the do?
Je suis the do.
Yes. That's why I was laughing. I was waiting for you to stop talking.
Shut the fuck up.
Do you do the do?
That's priceless. That's really good. Okay.
Just had the whole. I could see the whole thing in my head. Amanda in her little butler outfit.
Just full nip out.
For
Good
you and
evening,
you and
monsieur.
you.
Mon Dieu. For you and you and you.
Enchanté.
Oh.
Okay. So,
Ich habe eine Klappfuß.
You got it.
Oh, I forgot to tell you this. Speaking of exactly that German sentence. I love my across the street neighbors, and anytime they're outside, and I love their kids, so I like to just be a neighborhood creeper, and then I'll find some excuse to come outside, even though I never go outside. Anyway, just so I can hang out and say hi to them. And I saw them a month or so ago, hanging out front, and they were stopped to chat with somebody who was taking a walk in the neighborhood. And one of the individuals who stopped to chat happened to be a German man who is a German teacher at a local high school.
Very guttural, man.
And I just went, oh, ich habe eine Klappfuß.
what did he say?
He just went. I was so excited.
Did he laugh?
Yes, he just looked at me, and I went, yeah, I have a club foot. I mean, I don't really have a club foot, but that's the only thing I know how to say in German. And he just burst. This stranger ran out of her house across the street to say hi to Peter and his kids. And Peter introduces me to this stranger who happens to be German, and I light up.
What would you do if you lifted his pant leg to reveal a prosthetic?
Yeah, well, that's different.
Me
but I'd be
too.
sure.
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Just ich habe eine Klappfuß. I'm so excited to tell. Oh yeah, by the way.
I have it in English. That's what it gets me when you then say it in English. I have a club foot. I mean, I don't really.
I don't really, but that's the only thing I know how to say.
I mean, I don't have a club foot.
And my neighbor Peter, who like knows I'm crazy. We've lived across the street from each other for like 2 years now.
Did he come out to run interference?
No, but he was one who introduced us. He was like, "Oh my god, she babysits my kids." Like, I don't know.
The German
I've
guy
literally
said
babysitting their kids on Wednesday. Never said a word. He was like, "That's very fun," and then was like, "We have to continue our walk." I haven't seen him since. I don't know where. I hope he's okay. Oh,
I wish him the best.
I honestly, if I knew how to say "I wish you the best" in German, I would have said that. But
Oh my god.
I don't Prost. I don't fucking know.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. All right. Back to my case. I gotta get through
I
this.
forgot what we were
Say
talking about.
Utvi Gates. How are you?
Gates.
How are you?
Back to my case. Utvi Gates.
I'm so sorry.
Guten Tag. Okay. Okay. So, corruption 2018, 2022.
Skim.
But the rot goes back much, much further. And
Oh, yes.
the corruption is way more bonkers than I ever could have imagined. So,
Okay.
most soccer/football bigwigs hail from Europe, like Germany.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to focus on one FIFA exec with a particularly American flair for fraud.
Oh.
And that man is named Chuck Blazer, which sounds
Wow.
like...
That is an American.
I know.
But a fake name.
It
That sounds
sounds
like
like
a fake name.
A fake American name that a European would come up with.
Or like
Blazer.
or like an 18-year-old using a fake ID to like book a hotel room for a night and get some booze. Blazer.
Blazer.
The
McLovin.
name's Chuck McLovin. It's got massive McLovin energy to it.
So Blazer is
McLovin. Nice.
his real name. Hailed from Queens, New York. He was a boy from a middle-class household who dropped out of business school and turned instead to the high-flying world of
Kites.
button making.
Oh, okay.
Kites.
High flying world.
I know, I get it.
It was a great joke, but it caused Kenyon to say butts.
So really, an even better joke. Button
Gotcha.
making.
This might be my new favorite episode.
It's definitely going to be our longest.
So he dropped out of business school to make buttons, and this was during the 1970s smiley face paraphernalia craze where people were just slapping smiley faces on everything and making tons of money.
You know what I pictured? Like a
dropped out of
sewing
grad
button.
school to
Like with
make
4 holes.
buttons.
No, not even. He was making like fun buttons.
Yeah, fun buttons.
That was gonna be his big break. He ended up moving on from that. But
I too had a dream once where I would be a button maker, and then I got a button maker, and then I had to
You
make
hated
buttons for Wine and Crime, and it was the worst
you
6 months of my life.
You had a dream of being
I
a
really
button.
wanted
Do
a
you not
button
remember
maker.
how excited she was when she was like, and I can make our buttons, and we can have this many designs of buttons, and I'll buy the button maker, and
Yeah.
da-da-da. And then you got the button maker, and you made like 12
And then I got
buttons.
carpal tunnel.
You were like this. Fucking
And I've
blows.
been in an arm cast ever since.
I have a brace. That's why I always wear crew neck sweatshirts to hide my brace.
Yeah, she was rudely awakened.
I felt like I was in a camp of some kind.
Factory, like making half a pence an hour.
Yes, and that was despite
trying
me
not
just being
to
able
let
to
your-
watch reality TV the whole time.
Trying not to let your crinoline catch fire in the factory.
Licking mercury.
Adjusting your whalebone corset.
Half of those buttons were #propose flan.
God.
Yeah, a lot of
Who
them.
played a show in Qatar on a U.S. Army base
Weird.
with a specific cover band.
The
Yep.
fuck?
Weird.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, moving
Yeah.
on. So much more to get to. So But from these humble beginnings, Blazer would one day emerge as, quote, one of the most corrupt executives in the history of international soccer.
Wow, of international button making.
So Chuck never played soccer himself, but he got involved in the sport when his son joined a youth league in 1976, which I just thought was like the weirdest entree into...
He started coaching Little League soccer, and now he owns FIFA.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No, but like, yes.
And he never played himself. That's fucking weird.
Those who can't do, teach, you know? Those
So,
who can't teach Jim.
so he
School
began...
of Rap.
Sorry,
Own
Kenny.
FIFA.
Sorry, Kenny.
So he began coaching and soon enough was serving on executive committees for the New York State Soccer Association.
Okay.
And in 1984, Blazer decided to really go big. I'm pushing through. By launching a campaign featuring the support of Brazilian soccer legend Pelé, who I have heard of.
I've heard of him.
Because I've heard of him
Yep.
before.
I know him. I've seen him.
I know him. Santa.
To become executive vice president of the U.S. Soccer Federation. So he's just like moving up the ranks just by sheer force of personality and button-making wisdom.
This is literally the origin story of Wine and Crime.
Yeah.
We dropped out of grad school to become button-makers, and now we own FIFA. It's like crazy.
So
you guys.
parallel.
And I have an arm brace.
And
And we
Lucy
know
is-
Pelé.
yeah, he's like our friend, so stop
fourth
calling
gal.
him. He doesn't want to hear from
Pelé.
Brazilian soccer
Pelé.
legend Pelé.
Brazilians is the fourth gal. It's never been Scott, okay, you guys?
Scott is
It's
Pele.
you,
Brazilian
Pelé. It's
soccer
always
legend
been
Scott.
you.
It's always
Scott
been
Arnold.
you, Pele.
Okay, so in this role, he oversaw international competitions and was instrumental in winning the 1994 World Cup bid for the United States, which was quite the coup for a country with only like a fledgling U.S. adult soccer team at that point. Like soccer was...
Yeah, what do we do with that stadium now?
I don't.
I'll look it up.
Have no idea.
It's probably a combination
Let's
Pizza
learn.
Hut Taco Bell.
I also think it was
Probably.
held in like multiple cities in the U.S.
Yes. Yep.
Which is weird.
Like in Germany it was the same thing.
Oh.
It was 12 cities because there's so many. It's sort of like South by Southwest, okay, you guys? There's like
So many events.
There are multiple events
Oh, yeah.
and games that can overlap.
Because there's like 2 games a day, are there not?
Exactly. So they have to have multiple or often have multiple spaces.
So whatever. Okay, so he does do work of like putting U.S. soccer on the map, where it previously was not. But Blazer's tenure as VP didn't last long. After just 2 years, he was ousted by team owners who, quote, felt they had been kept in the dark about finances, end quote.
And so you were.
Do you want to know the answer to your question?
Sure.
I don't even remember what the question was. Let's
the
go
World
for
Cup
it.
matches in the U.S. in 1994 were
Got it.
played at 9 venues, and they were just like regular football stadiums, like the Rose Bowl in Pasadena,
Okay, so places
Silverdome,
that had
Giant
already been
Stadium,
football,
Citrus
like,
Bowl.
built.
American
Okay.
football stadiums.
Yeah, it doesn't
it.
look like they built any new ones.
Cool.
That's good. I like that. Okay.
So still, Chucky B had made important personal connections.
Chucky B.
Part-
Chucky's in
Chucky.
love.
with
Chucky
money.
B.
Particularly with a man named Jack Warner. So basically, like, he is buddy-buddy with this guy, Jack Warner, who's also a bigwig in all this soccer stuff. And when Chuck is kind of, like, taken down a peg, Jack Warner steps up and becomes the head honcho. And then Chucky B is his right-hand man. And they just, like, are these, like, corrupt buddy cops for
Are
years.
you saying, and I'm not following along, which is
I
why
know.
I have to ask.
I know.
Are you saying Jack Warner with a W?
Yeah.
Because I keep hearing Jack Horner with an H and getting the Little Jack Horner nursery rhyme stuck in my head.
Oh my
because
God.
I have ADHD.
Yeah, your ADHD.
Warner,
is
and it doesn't
showing.
matter, and we won't get to it.
Little Jack Warner sat in a corner eating his Christmas pie.
Yeah.
Birds and Whey.
So they're BFFs
No, it's
and
Christmas
they're corrupt
pie.
together, and I'm moving on because I'm going to have to pump and I want to see my baby. Okay.
He stuck in a thumb and pulled out a plum and
Sure.
said, what a good boy am I?
Next. So Chucky B has made personal connections in the soccer world. So even when he is ousted for like the early rumblings of financial shenanigans, he has powerful friends, and then he gets like the number 2 job in places so he can still continue his grift.
Got it.
Okay.
So Jack secures like the presidency of this organization, and then Chucky B gets the second role of general secretary of the, not at all annoying to say, CONCACAF.
Oh, I came across this acronym too.
CONCACAF.
CONCACAF.
Wow.
you.
CONCACAF. The Confederation of North Central America and Caribbean Football Association.
Cool. Like, glad you exist. Hate your acronym.
CONCACAF.
Shorten it.
So Chuck serves as the general secretary, the number 2 role in CONCACAF for the next 2 decades, while also serving on the FIFA executive committee from 1996 to 2013. So he's
quite a reign.
big wig.
Mm-hmm.
He has been dubbed soccer's, quote, number 1 power broker in the United States. So his job is basically like negotiating a lot of these sponsorship deals and like venue placements for these big competitions.
Dang.
And getting a
That's
cut.
a very important job for the World fucking Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's making money.
Yeah.
Boku
bucks. So now it's possible Blazer was involved thanks purely to his love of the game, but I think it is much more likely that he recognized an unparalleled opportunity to like squirrel away as much cash as humanly possible before this money train ran out.
Mm-hmm.
So Blazer's initial contract with CONCACAF
Gazoon tight.
entitled him to 10% of just about every penny that the organization brought in.
That's 10 cents a penny. Wait, no. Thought you said $1.
Can't make this shit up.
Oh! He come out of Clubhouse.
I mean, I don't have a club foot, but you know.
But, you get it. You're German.
You get it.
That's my favorite thing to say when I've said something really, really absurd and niche to someone.
You get it.
You get it.
So then they'll be too embarrassed to fight you on it.
100% of the time, people just go,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Super inside.
It's just a good segue to like leaving.
yeah, you get it.
You get
Anyway.
it. Okay, have a great night.
You take care. I can tell you're busy. I'll let you go.
I love ending a phone call that way. Well, I'm going to let you go.
Every phone call I ever have.
That's
That's
the only
how
way
it
to get
ends.
out of a phone call if you're from the Midwest.
Yes. It's rude to do anything else.
Yeah. Okay, so this guy, he gets 10% of every penny that CONCACAF brings in.
10 cents a penny. Got
10
it.
cents
Yep.
a
10
penny.
cents every penny.
It's a great return.
Of
Unbelievable.
course he's rich. What a
Unbelievable
deal.
numbers.
Wow. The penny guy didn't notice? It's crazy.
It's like some Madoff shit.
Great.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so this document, this is a quote, provided him an intoxicating personal incentive to grow the sport, earning him a life of spectacular luxury and an unforgettable nickname, Mr. 10%.
Mr. 10 cents a penny.
So records
Mr.
show
1000% return.
records show that Blazer earned $21.6 million during his time at CONCACAF and $15 million in commissions, which I feel like was in addition to, maybe it was part of the 22 million. I don't know. He made a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of fucking money. Like, you can try to make it make sense. It won't.
No.
To me. That is absurd.
And he had a lot of perks. So he basically had no living expenses while making that kind of money because
rich
people
just get richer because they're rich.
Yeah.
And he's also someone who's in a position with this organization where people are going to be like vying for his good graces. So of course he's going to go on lavish vacations. Like, he's being bribed.
Oh, yeah.
He's being bribed.
For perks, for sure.
He's getting crazy commissions from huge mega deals, like signing like the deal with ESPN to broadcast the World Cup in the US. Like,
everyone's
those kinds
courting
of deals.
him. Yeah.
Courting. Yes, that's exactly what they're doing.
And he's BFFs with the number one person in the organization who's also wildly corrupt, and they are best friends. And so he could just go to Jack Warner and be like, hey, can you pay for this
Get in
for
the
me?
corner. Here's your pumpkin pie.
Can I suck your butt?
Your Christmas pie. Stick your thumb in. Pull out a plum. See what
I
happens.
don't even know what you're saying. So let's paint a picture of his extravagant lifestyle. So
yes, these are my favorite. How many planes?
I don't know how many, but several.
Okay.
Blazer, quote, operated with high-flying impunity for decades.
High-flying impunity is my favorite.
Kind of impunity.
Inhabiting a world of private jets, famous friends, secret island getaways, offshore bank accounts, and 2 Trump Tower apartments with sweeping views of Central Park and the crenellations of the Plaza Hotel, end quote.
Wow.
What does crenellation
I don't know. I'm not rich enough to know what crenellations are.
I'm gonna Google it. Ich habe eine Crenellations.
I think it means
the
like
battlements of a castle or other building.
so basically like
Yeah.
the pretty little
It's a wall. It's a fancy
ornamentation on the roof line or whatever.
Yeah, it's like the dirt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
wall. You really need to be a patron at $5 or more for dirt.
They know. They know. I
dirt.
think they know.
But because, of course, CONCACAF's office and Chuck Blazer would choose Trump Tower as their home base. The office took up the building's entire 17th floor.
Okay.
He had
Cash.
a lot of staplers.
Well, Chuck occupied the 49th floor in not one but 2 luxury apartments.
You need to.
Yeah.
You do need to, and we will get to it. His main residence, from which he often worked in his bed wearing only boxers and a Ralph Lauren t-shirt.
God bless him.
Same.
The dream.
Yeah. That sounds like me at 17 years old, right after having sexual intercourse with a boy.
Yeah.
Smell that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
CONCACAF employees were forced to, quote, scurry up and down the elevators to get their marching orders and obtain his signatures while he's, like, sitting in bed.
Ugh.
Yeah, being bothered.
Post-coital.
So this main personal apartment of his cost $18,000 a month.
Oh, that's nothing.
That
That's
CONCACAF
nothing.
pays for.
Yeah.
Well,
That's basically 10 cents a penny.
but it was his second apartment that really takes the cake. A
have two.
separate apartment in Trump Tower, leased exclusively for Blazer's, quote, unruly cats.
Oh, my God.
He had his own
Had a cat
All is forgiven.
apartment.
All is
is
forgiven. God bless this man. Protect him and keep him.
He had his own
Chuck Blazer.
apartment just for his
For his
cats.
cats.
Oh,
I love it.
how
Love it.
unruly. Describe them. What were their names?
I
Oh my
searched
God.
and found no other specific information about the cats.
They're probably
sadly.
full-grown tigers.
Big cats.
Maybe his big cats.
Yeah.
A bargain at any price, but this amenity costs $6,000 a month.
Oh, only? That's nothing. That's a cheap apartment.
And again, this was fully expensed to CONCACAF. On his personal Amex card, Blazer racked up, quote, a staggering $29 million in credit card charges over just a 7-year period.
Oh,
29 million.
I could do it.
I know
that
you
means he
could.
didn't pay.
I wouldn't even be that hard.
He paid it off. Or was that the bill?
There was the
In charges,
forensic
so we're not quite
accounting
sure.
for
Oh,
CONCACAF
okay.
and this man were so intertwined and complicated and fraudulent that, like, who the fuck knows?
It
Right.
probably wasn't a bill. Like, that's insane.
That's what he put on his personal Amex card over a period of 7 years.
Yeah, and paid it off.
A lot was paid off, but a lot was paid off by CONCACAF, not by him.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Okay.
Like expensed or whatever.
It's a lot of cat food, though, probably.
Mm.
They're unruly.
Well, yeah, those
They're
big
unruly.
cats.
I know. I
These
wanted.
unruly, hungry boys. My hungry boys.
God.
My big boys.
My hungry boys.
My big hungry boys.
Okay.
So, according to sources who knew him, the quote corrupt and corpulent Blazer,
Oh.
Corpulent.
who suffered from diabetes
Wow.
and coronary artery disease, quote
Same. Just kidding. I don't have coronary artery disease yet.
quote lived like there was no tomorrow. He ate and drank whatever he pleased. He probably thought he'd be gone before anybody noticed what he had helped himself to.
Well, yeah, diabetes and coronary artery disease, there kinda is no tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, like, go big,
Oh,
babe.
he went big. He was like a regular at Elaine's, which is like this very fancy New York restaurant that all these like really famous people would always eat at.
How
He
old
has-
is he at this point?
He's
roughly?
in his like 60s.
Oh, okay. So he's
Nice.
not like
His prime.
40.
No, but he had like a motorized scooter and he would just like scoot around New York
Oh, yeah,
and
honey.
like
do what you
hobnob
want.
with people.
Do
Luck.
what you want.
But it was all too good to be true. In December 2011, the FBI and IRS working together came for Blazer and managed to flip him.
No.
Agreeing to lessen extensive fraud and racketeering charges against him in exchange for a plea deal and becoming an informant against all other CONCACAF and FIFA execs, including his BFF, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, start squealing, little piggy.
The FBI kitted out Blazer with a secret recording device hidden in his keychain's key fob.
Cool.
Neat.
And Blazer would then place his keys on the table during meetings with his corrupt colleagues, including at high-profile sporting events such as the 2012 London Olympics. And
Get it all on tape.
total side note, go to my photos on the drive.
Okay. Is the key fob on there? Can't
No,
wait.
the key fob is not on there.
Are
but
the unruly
fine.
cats? What the fuck?
Where are
wish.
the unruly
I
cats?
really tried to get photos of the cats.
Okay,
What is-
I know you're gonna get to it, but I'm having a really hard time with the Boris Johnson
So,
photo.
I'm glad
No,
that's
is
what
that
you
him?
zeroed in on because,
Oh,
of course
no.
it is. Side note, we're
Hanging
talking.
from his hand,
Okay.
it looks like.
This is from the 2012 London Olympics. One high note of these games was when Boris Johnson, then mayor of London, managed to get himself stuck on a zip line during the opening ceremony. Him.
So this isn't like a stunt.
Look at his
This is-
shoes.
Yeah.
I know.
Why does he have those flags?
It was during the ceremony. He was going to zip line and wave the British flag, and he got stuck and just hanging there. I didn't know about this. Zach told me about this as I was finishing my case.
And, you're
And I was like,
add to drive, add to cart.
I've never heard of this. This is incredible.
Look at that
This
photo.
is the best picture I've ever seen
Oh my
know.
God.
in my
His
life.
Impeccable.
shoes are the best.
Whoever took this photo needs like the Pulitzer,
yeah.
like all the prizes.
World Peace Prize.
National
Yes.
Geographic,
Nobel.
whatever. Yeah.
This is so amazing.
I know. Okay.
Oh, the fourth gal Pele's in
So that
here.
was
Hey Pele.
Hey Pele. So that was just my fun little side note. Okay.
That is so good.
So, having been a key confidential informant for the DOJ's investigation, in May 2015, 7 top FIFA executives were arrested at the Hôtel Bord du Lac outside of Zurich. The 164-page criminal indictment listed 47 counts of bribery, fraud, and money laundering, totaling over $150 million
Damn.
in
That's money.
bribes
Yeah.
to these FIFA people, mostly for like allowing like Russia to get the World Cup and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But old Chuck Blazer, a man who illegally amassed untold millions over 20 years and not to mention failed to pay any income taxes for at least a decade,
Of course not.
The American story.
would never even be sentenced for his own crimes. Despite pleading guilty, which was again part of his deal with the FBI, his sentencing was delayed by the trials of all the other FIFA officials. So, like, he basically got to just, like, hang out at home while all these other, like, legal proceedings were going through the
Going
courts.
down. Yeah.
And in 2017, Blazer died from colorectal cancer at one of his many homes, this one in New Jersey.
He died.
He also had residences in New York, Miami, and the Bahamas.
Luck.
And sadly, I could not find any more info on what became of his cats.
No, that was my question.
Oh,
I know.
I knew it was coming.
But he does have grown children, so I assume that they took on the care of the cats.
Probably.
I'm sure there was
They
a
were
big
inherited.
trust fund set aside for the cats.
Mm-hmm.
They were inherited. The kitties were inherited.
So so
Yeah.
this guy basically just like did all of this consequence free for the most part.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's wild.
Really fucked up.
That's crazy.
And also like the IRS should just have a Trump Tower section.
Raid.
Like
Yeah.
no one in that building is paying income taxes, it turns
Correct.
out.
Mhm.
Yeah. So anyway,
Nice
That-
job.
Cool.
yeah.
I like that case.
Thank you.
That was wonderful. Good work.
Nice
you.
work.
Okay. This is stupid. Everything is dust. I hate sports. Here we go. In 2006, FIFA took a new and tech-forward approach to ticketing for the World Cup. That year, it was hosted by Germany, and fans were rabid as per usual, but it was like noted how much more rabid. And I know we talked about this earlier, but like the World Cup is way more intense in countries like this where people are so obsessed with it rather than like it was in Tokyo several years ago and they were like, it was pretty chill, but we didn't have the same.
Well, there's a much bigger barrier to getting to those games.
Getting there.
Versus
Exactly.
in Europe where a lot of the fans
You're hosting
are
it
and you can get
where
there
the
by
obsession
train.
is. Yeah, for like 10
Yeah.
euro. So absolutely, yes, that's exactly it. So ticket scalping had been an ongoing
Tell
issue.
them what you did.
You did. Okay, Lucy.
Well, I asked them what cases they were covering. So we didn't
Earlier
overlap earlier today. And Amanda said the 2006 FIFA scalping thing. And I
Yeah.
thought she meant.
And she just goes, Jesus.
I went, Jesus, okay.
What the fuck?
And she goes, I don't know what elicited that
And
reaction.
I reacted to it with a question mark because I was so confused.
Yeah, Lucy
I was
went-
like, why are you freaking out?
Scalping, ripping the scalp off. And I got really
Right.
excited.
Kenyon immediately
I
knew
knew.
what I meant and what Lucy assumed.
I'm like
and
quickly
ran to
trying
the chat
to type in the chat. She means
to
ticket
clear it
scalp.
up. Because I was like salty. I was like, why is she freaking out? Like, I am doing my notes. What is it? What did I do?
I'm taking a screen grab. I'll add it to the drive.
Yeah.
And then Kenyon runs in and I just burst out laughing.
Of
like,
course,
oh my
Lucy's
God,
brain first
psycho.
goes to
Removal of the scalp with the hair still attached. No thanks.
FIFA's
So-
little known sideline, scalping.
Okay, I'm putting
Ugh.
this on the drive.
Go ahead. So, ticket scalping had been an ongoing issue for basically as long as the World Cup has existed. Like, as long as there have been tickets to something, a third party, someone is probably selling tickets. And FIFA wanted to crack down on it, like, in a new way this time around. So this is from the New York Times. Quote, new technology is a bane and a blessing for frantic international buyers in the last stage of sales for the remaining 3.1 million tickets.
Oh, yeah, those last dangling 3.1
million tickets. But the problem is it's 3.1 million tickets to 64 games throughout the World Cup. And since you don't know who's going to like move on toward what, that's when the resale and the scalping gets so cutthroat.
That makes a lot of sense because you don't know what game you want to attend or if the game will even happen. Yeah.
Exactly. You go into it with your preferred club or team and like try to follow the projection of where you think they're going to go and buy the tickets. And then it creates this giant market for trading and selling.
That is complicated. It's not just like trying to like get a seat at a Taylor Swift concert. It's like
correct
a moving target.
It is a syndicate, yo. It's nuts.
So there is an individual ticket for every single game, and then as soon as they move into the second round, they release the new tickets.
Correct. Okay. And certainly
certain
there
games you can buy a ticket and then that game doesn't happen because that matchup doesn't exist, and then you get refunded.
Pan out. Yep.
Wow.
And there certainly are like elite ticket buyers who can get essentially like an all access pass, but those are like, that's a totally different.
That's a Chuck Blazer situation.
Yeah.
Right. That's a Chuck Blazer situation. So the prize tickets are trophies in a strict selling and trading system developed by Germany's local soccer organizing committee to combat advanced online globalization of the black market. So the rules are that legally purchased tickets with unique identification codes contained individual like microchips, which we will get to, and can be transferred only among relatives or in connection with hardship cases, not excluding assorted events of mass destruction like epidemics. So if like something happens in your country, but not where the World Cup is, but it keeps you from being able to attend.
Like a little bit of insurance, travel insurance or whatever.
Yep, that you're allowed to transfer the ticket in that kind of circumstance. An earthquake, natural disaster, act of war, like it's their what falls under hardship cases is fairly robust and accommodating of the fact that this is a global event with one area to travel to. So some places had taken scalping, or as other like British publications will call it, touting, to the next level, like Britain, for example, because they passed legislation classifying World Cup ticket scalping as a criminal offense. So you can get arrested for it there.
Wow.
So this made countries like the United States a black market hub for online ticket scalping, though I don't know how, like, quote unquote, seedy or black market eBay is, which is like where it was sold, because it's so deep web. But here's what's so interesting is it's not a black market for the US, so they can sell on eBay because that's a US based company, and we don't have any laws that say you can't do resale or scalping of tickets.
We don't?
No, we don't.
Like not standing
at least
outside
for the World
of
Cup,
venue,
but
you can't.
Yeah, but even now, that's on a like state by state and even city by city basis. Okay. It's like not an one far-reaching law, right? Okay. But so the U.S. doesn't have that. But then so eBay becomes a black market in the eyes of the UK because England has this law against it. So that's why it was just so funny. Like these articles about this shit are toned so seriously that they're talking about a black market for tickets, and then they interview people who are selling them, and it's like just some guy on eBay selling like some asshole on eBay, and it just cracks me up. So this is a popular spot for selling tickets and bids. This is in 2006. Now, everything I'm talking about, it still holds true today, but I'm specifically talking about 2006 because they had made a huge shift in like the tech to try and combat scalping. So that's why this year in particular was an interesting year for this issue. So in 2006, they were on eBay, and you could usually buy a single seat to really any World Cup match for at face value in the ballpark of $700 US, which is expensive, but accessible for most people, let's just say in the United States. But they were selling online for over $3,000 per single
Big
seat.
markup. That's 10 pennies to the penny.
That is 10 pennies on the penny.
Exactly. And while resale and transferring of tickets isn't necessarily illegal even in places like England where they had set up this law, the legality issue comes with selling it for above face value. You can sell it to get rid of it and get your money back, but you can't make a profit off of it because they want to shut down like a Ticketmaster issue where a third party buyer comes in and buys everything. Yep, and then fucks people over. So like it's logical, and I think it makes a lot of sense why they wouldn't.
And also, it's always going to be whack-a-mole. People are always going to
exactly.
Yeah.
So why do orgs like FIFA and the UEFA, which is like the European, like the specific to the UK,
it's one of those
and UEFA.
It's one of those.
It's one of those continental chunks that make it up.
CONCACAF.
So, like, why they take this so seriously? Capitalism, obviously. They don't want to be losing out on money to a third party. Yada, yada, yada. But more than that, it's honestly to keep safety in mind due to the absolute carnage of soccer fans. So, Jerry McGrath, legal counsel for the European Soccer Authority, so UEFA, said, or well, that's not what that stands for, but it's one of those soccer things. Said in an interview that, quote, traditionally the concern is the breakdown of crowd segregation so that different clubs and national teams are separated. So they actually are very meticulous about how they sell tickets, and they will ask you what seems like a lot of personal information because they assign the seats to mitigate risk,
so
because
people
fight each other.
Break out.
Precisely.
They have like separate like entrances at the stadiums for like different fans of different clubs, and
oh my god, that's bizarre.
It's bizarre, but it's not because this shit gets.
That's what I never thought about.
Up.
Right.
Yeah, and this shit gets extremely dangerous, and we'll cover some of that. So national teams, different clubs, they're all separated. Online sales threaten segregation because it is an uncontrolled market. So if you mix it, long and short of it, if you mix together fans and the match goes wrong for one side, which it inevitably always does.
Yeah, imagine if you're like the one whatever fan in a sea of other fans because you scalped your ticket from someone who, and then you get beat to death.
And you're all decked out, and people lose their fucking minds and beat the shit out of each other. And this sounds ridiculous because it fucking is. But it's a real safety concern. So one fan brawl, this is very recent. This is at a match in Indonesia just this past October, killed over 125 people due to trampling, suffocation from the tear gas launched by the police trying to control the crowd, and just from physical fight injuries sustained in the brawl.
Oh my God.
I saw conflicting reports on exactly the amount, but it's like around 130 people are dead because of it.
Jesus Christ.
So like that's an extreme scenario, but another example is in 2014, 4 people died in Honduras during a fight among fans before a match had even begun.
Cool.
It was like the day of the match, like outside of the stadium. They might have been at a bar or something, but it was before the match had even started, and 2 different clubs were there to cheer on their team.
I hate human beings.
Yeah,
I know. It's ridiculous. Like, we already have enough violence and death and destruction and war and famine. We really need to fucking kill each other over soccer.
Yeah.
It's just like, and I get that there are so many deeper cultural implications and like connections to these games. I really do understand that.
And the psychology of like mob mentality itself too.
Right. It's really hard to it's impossible for me to justify the loss of human life over stuff like this. And that includes the full scope of it. That includes all the people who fucking die as essentially indentured servants. Yeah. Working to build a brand new city so that a country with a fuck ton of oil that paid its way in could host this event and get some like good clout internationally. Like it's,
and like not to pick
it's
on
all very gross.
Cutter, but like it was like almost equally as fucked up to host it in Russia 4 years prior. Like it's just
absolutely
the whole thing. The cycle is just repeating itself.
So all of this is the risk if you even actually get a real ticket, because like fake tickets are also a thing, and they've been used in the past and they've worked, as ticket takers are human, and the advancements in counterfeit tech allowed for folks to sneak in on like Like, we were before the advancements in counterfeit tech, I mean. So you could sneak in before on, like, counterfeit IDs and passes and tickets. But in 2006, FIFA welcomed Philips. Like, I think that, like, of the toothbrush Philips. It's a Dutch consumer tech company. And Philips had paid over 30 million pounds to be a FIFA World Cup sponsor. They developed microchip technology that used radio frequency to assure uncounterfeitable tickets. Again, from the New York Times, quote, to enter through stadium turnstiles at all World Cup games, visitors will have to pass their tickets over electronic readers that check the validity. The chips, according to Alexander Tarzi, a spokesman for Philips, do not contain personal information, but rather an identity code linked to a database of information supplied by original ticket holders.
So you have to
voluntarily when you buy your ticket,
give them that information, and then it's tied to the ticket that you buy.
You have to give it to purchase.
Right.
So, like, if yes, that's voluntarily because you're choosing to purchase it, but you can't get the ticket at all. Right. As a private citizen purchasing, you can't get the ticket at all without that information. Right. So security staff can match passport numbers. So in theory, you show your passport, you get your ticket scanned, it's cleared as a valid ticket. Then security staff can match the passport number on your passport with what's
on the ticket
in the ticket code information provided by the original purchaser. So they do this at the gate. This is the theory. So this microchip not only legitimizes the ticket itself, but it also legitimizes the owner of the ticket. Because as we pointed out earlier, folks buying them third party are not like family members of original ticket holders or people who have experienced a hardship case. So they're not supposed to be able to get in with a third party ticket at all unless there's like been some... Then there's a huge process for transferring tickets. You can't just like go online and transfer your ticket. Like it requires all kinds of paperwork and all of that is tracked.
Probably like a terrorism safety issue too.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Yep. That is also a big part of it because this is like, it makes the city, the host city vulnerable.
Yeah.
The city's like triple and sometimes and often quadruple in
population
over the course of that time. 100% yes, that's also...
So many rich people there. There's so much money concentrated there.
Exactly. So terrorism is like the main reason behind doing all of this. And this is 2006. It's post 9/11. And technology has gotten to a point where not only is it post 9/11, we can actually do it. So this was like why this was such a big deal for this year in particular. So in theory, quote, it provides a check. But in practice, with massive numbers of people moving into the stadiums, black market ticket sellers are offering different advice. It's very unlikely that they will check, said one eBay seller in the United States who is offering 2 tickets to Paraguay versus Sweden. Half the stadium would be empty if they checked everyone, and they definitely wouldn't want that because it's all televised. So I wouldn't worry. And it's true. Like,
well, also think about how long the lines are and how
it would
slow
take
it would be to like
fucking ever.
It's like,
sorry, I have to cross-check 800 things every time I scan a ticket? Absolutely not. And we're people, so we'll get to that. It's like, they're not fucking doing that. So the eBay seller was right. When I was looking into this, there was literally a blog post in 2006 on this like very popular blog called, I think it's Spiegel's International World Cup blog. And the headline on this was, quote, scalped tickets will still get you in.
my question though is like, wouldn't there be more people than seats?
No, because they're still acquiring the like if it's not a valid ticket, you're not getting it at all. So it's a valid ticket.
Got it.
Yeah.
It's not a forged.
So they're just acquiring it. They're acquiring it through means outside of who's supposed to be able to get a ticket transfer.
Got it.
Yep. And through another way to get tickets, which we'll get to in just a minute here. So scalp tickets will still get you in. In this post, writer Andreas Zortzis says, quote, the Stephen King nightmare that is the FIFA World Cup ticketing website with instructions that would make just as much sense if they were written in Sanskrit might not have told me how to do what I was about to do, but it reassured me that Germany's well-honored bureaucracy would make it as difficult as possible. With less than 4 hours to go before the 9 p.m. whistle, I didn't have much hope. And then came Sven mild-mannered, blonde, bespectacled Sven.
Of course, that is
with
Sven.
I know. With a yes, I speak English pin and the courage to sort a complicated situation. So this is a blog post by a guy who's using
A scalp ticket.
A scalped ticket. Yep. He read through the pieces of paper downloaded from the FIFA website, giving us power to pick up the tickets on the fake brother's behalf. So they acquired these through a ticket transfer because of some unforeseen circumstance, and they're claiming to be the brother of the original ticket buyer. And then set about changing the names. So to move the name of the ticket, Sven has to now reallocate the ticket to these cleared people. Sure, there were hurdles, like when Sven tried to have me call Brooklyn, which is 6 hours behind, and get a power of attorney from my still bleary-eyed ticket benefactor.
What the fuck?
So they did try to make them go through these hoops. But in the end, even Sven realized the best way was the smooth way. Quote, we don't want to make anyone upset, do we? Exactly, end quote. So the very system of hoop jumping to make it hard to transfer tickets is why the scalp tickets still work, because the staff at the gates don't want to fucking deal with it. It's taking forever. This poor kid, Sven, he probably did way more than anybody else.
Just quietly takes off his yes, I speak English pin.
I reside in disgrace.
Ich habe eine Clubfuß.
So yeah, it's like they're sick of it. They're so fucking sick of it. It's bullshit. So this blog writer continues on to say, quote, 2 pieces of paper in my pocket as well as my passport would assure the ticket takers that Kirsten Munsterman and Andreas Zortzis, who's the writer, were the rightful FIFA-approved replacements for David Mashburn and Andrew Sutherland. Which just fucking cracked me up. I love that. The woman at the gate grabbed each of our tickets and passed them under a sensor before hustling us through without a second glance. So it said the tickets are valid. We're not going to check the names. Bye.
Yeah, what is this? It's not like you're trying to get on an airplane. It's like just go.
We took our seats 3 rows from the field and right behind the Sweden bench. We'd gone from complete outsiders to pitch side in less than 5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. In one hilarious incident, also detailed on a different Spiegel's World Cup blog, regarded a purse snatcher who stole a woman's bag in Munich, just hoping for quick cash, and discovered a single ticket to a match between Brazil and Australia for that week. Rather than sell the ticket and make a big profit, he decided to treat himself and go to the match, obviously getting past whatever, quote, robust systems were in place, because this was in 2006, to keep some rando from using another person's ticket. He got in, took his seat, and found himself right next to the husband of the woman that he'd stolen from. I also have to note here how funny it is that the husband was like, wow, that sucks, wife. I'm still going.
Absolutely.
Fucking sitting next to an empty seat. Like, sorry
at that
about
point,
it.
they might as well have just shaken hands and been like, you know what? We're both fucked up.
Absolutely not. But that's not what he did. The thief was arrested shortly after taking his seat. The husband reported it. John Nix of Dallas wrote of his own 2006 experience of scalping in an op-ed that he titled, quote, "My World Cup Story, a Ticket Scalping Disaster." Oh my God, the eye roll gets so much deeper. This is such a fucking over-dramatization of what actually happened. So here we go. He writes, in 2006, my family was fortunate to purchase World Cup tickets via the FIFA lottery. And so we began our trek to Germany to follow the Alba Celeste, it's got to be a soccer team, from our native Argentina. So they are from Argentina. They live in the United States.
Usually that pipeline goes the other way, but
I know. So I had requested tickets to both rounds of 16 games of Argentina's group, not knowing in advance which position they would finish. Spoiler alert, they didn't advance to a round that they had already purchased tickets for. So now he finds himself with extra tickets that he doesn't even want to use. I had 4 tickets and we decided to try to sell them. I spent 2 hours walking the perimeter of the stadium looking for interested buyers. It was unlike what I experienced in the United States, and I was growing disillusioned with the possibility of finding a buyer, because this isn't how it's done there. So, like, everyone's just going to assume, idiot, this is either a sting or you're full of shit, because this isn't how we scalp
don't just
for
walk
World
around
Cup.
outside the stadium.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is Germany.
Yeah, well, it's not even just Germany. It's like for the World Cup in particular, that is not how scalping is done. It's like a way more intense
online
syndicate
thing.
of, yeah. So he continues on to say, then, a few minutes before the start of the match, a man approached me and inquired about my seats. We quickly made a deal and I exchanged the 4 tickets for 2,000 euros, which he paid with $2,000 bills. As soon as the transaction was completed, we were surrounded by 4 or 5 uniformed military police who confiscated the tickets and the money. At first, I thought it had been a setup, but then it became clear that my buyer was not part of a sting. He just wanted to see the match. Finally, an officer came back and explained that it was all okay. We had broken no law by selling 4 tickets because they didn't sell them over face value. That's what they were checking. Even though they had been scalped for a large amount. So but that still wasn't over the face value in euros of the 4 tickets. So my money was returned to me and the buyer got his tickets and we were on our way. I left there as quickly as I could before they changed their minds. So he freaked out that he was briefly detained by police, thought he might be going to jail in Germany, and then was told it's fine, given his money back, and sent on his way. Imagine being in the U.S.
Yeah, right.
Guy, like, you're from the U.S. You, like, what? This is what cracks me up sometimes. It's like, you're really that scared, and I do understand there are a lot of foreign governments with much more corrupt and terrifying police forces, but it's like, you're in Germany. You don't need to be scared of, like, being detained by foreign police. Like, their police force is not any worse or better than fucking ours.
And it wasn't
and you're not scared of it.
It wasn't
here.
even like this was a teachable post. Like, here's what I did wrong. Here's what you should do. It was just it was awful.
He was just
Turns out I didn't break a law and there were no consequences.
And there were no consequences, and I went about my life. What a true ticket scalping disaster. I hope you have good therapy to recover from that. But like I keep saying, this isn't the norm of how scalping goes. So we often picture like a sad dude with a need ticket sign on the street looking shady and trying to sell. But this is a much bigger operation. So one reporter, a man named Brendan Tremblath, was able to secure an interview with a scalper who, for obvious reasons, wished to remain anonymous. When asked about their process, he explained, quote, our clients are not individuals that buy on the street. So the majority of people scalping tickets are like fucking very rich people because they can afford it, and people with access to power and resources to get connected to these tickets. So our clients are CEOs of major corporations, Fortune 500 companies, travel agencies that bring 200 to 300 people to a match. We organize their hospitality, their hotels, their travel arrangements, their flights, buses to the match. We have tickets from various sources. So they'll get in this, he says, we'll get tickets from individuals and sponsors, which we'll get to. So like FIFA sponsors. And a lot of people that we do business with, every event, every year. So not just the World Cup. Like these are big operations that do this for large scale.
That all makes sense.
Events. Yep. So in bigger rings like this, what's likely happening, but kept kind of under wraps, is that World Cup sponsors who get an allocation of tickets are selling them against FIFA regulations. So the mystery scalper couldn't confirm or deny this for obvious reasons, but other publications have absolutely called out sponsors like McDonald's, Adidas, Yahoo for offloading their tickets for inflated prices.
Or they give them to specific employees, and then those employees then
sell them. Because like giving them to someone else or even selling them at face value isn't necessarily the issue. It's where you're making a profit. Yeah. If you're making a profit, then you're fucking with the FIFA regulations. We're the only ones who can make a profit. But it isn't just your average Joe fans or corporate sponsors that are selling their tickets in 2006. Sometimes the call is coming from inside the house. So again, from the New York Times, quote, a high-ranking FIFA official was sent home from the World Cup in disgrace after admitting that he had sold World Cup tickets for 3 times their face value. Sepp Blatter, which I cannot. The president at the time of FIFA said he was furious after Ismail Bamji of Botswana confirmed that he had sold tickets at inflated prices.
That's like Blatter the tiniest version of the corruption that these men engage
but
in.
But Blatter was furious.
Well, no, but we're going to make an example to show we do. Yeah, like we are of our values. We are reputable. So we're going to make an example out of this fucking guy who's just doing what all of y'all do
on a much
larger scale.
Yeah.
Right, like they do it on a much larger scale, not this guy. So it's so fucking stupid. So Blatter led an emergency meeting Saturday. Blatter fastened on his Depends and led an emergency meeting Saturday, after which FIFA relieved Bamji of his World Cup duties and asked him to, quote, leave Germany at the earliest possible moment.
Oh my
So he was like fired. Bamji confirmed in a written statement that he sold 12 Category 1 seats for the match between England and Trinidad and Tobago or is it Tobago? Tobago, excuse me. I have a fly going in my face. For 300 euros each, which is 200 euros above face value. So he wasn't even like selling them for that much more.
Not that much money.
They just wanted to make an example of him.
Not even 10 cents on the penny more.
No.
Not even 10 cents per penny. It's crazy. He was literally just used to make an example of.
Wow.
Quote, he said, I deeply regret this incorrect act and apologize to FIFA for violating the relevant terms and conditions governing the sale of tickets for the 2006 FIFA World Cup. Despite all of these clear holes in their huge investment into cracking down on scalping, FIFA and the German 2006 organizing committee insisted that the ticketing system was working as well as could be expected. Quote, we've done all we can. You can never completely rule out a black market, which is true. So all that said, FIFA did say that there would be a better distribution and like anti-counterfeiting and like anti-scalping system for the World Cup that was in South Africa in 2010, but I didn't care enough to go look and see if they had done that. And that's my case.
No way to know.
Nice.
All right. Well done.
There's no way to know. I made the best of what I was given. FIFA.
And this is one of our longest episodes.
It's about 2 hours. That sounds right.
You know what?
Yeah.
I actually thought it was very interesting. And I want to thank our fan picker, Michelle Belmont, for forcing us outside of our comfort zones.
Yeah, this was more interesting than I thought.
I never would have found Apartment of Cats, man.
Unruly.
That was amazing.
Unruly cats.
Unruly cats.
I'll take them.
This episode was, I will eat my crow and shake my empty can of Mountain Dew and say this episode was actually really fun. And I
So
appreciate
thanks,
it.
Michelle, and thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
See you later.
Bye-bye.